Hello and welcome back to another episode of our exercise toolkit. I appreciate you joining us, and again, I'm Spencer Pollock and look forward to chatting with you about some of our other tools. These are more printables, if you will, than toolkits that we will include in our exercise packet. The first one here is a map template, and again, it's kind of a poor man's GIS, if you will, sort of GIS for dummies. All we did here was take a screenshot of our base location from Google Maps, save that as an image. As a reminder, right, insert image in cells, select the photo, upload it that we had downloaded, and then you're good to go. In this case, we were looking at hazmat stuff, but what we did is each one of these items on the screen is a separate thing, and so you can drag them around, right, to kind of tell your story a little bit. Depending on your exercise, certainly you might have hot zone, warm zone, cold zone, direction arrows, the wind indicator, right? But you can go through and edit any of these. So say you're not using air monitors, but you've got a staging location. When you click on there, we can edit it, right? Brings up the drawing window, and we can then change air monitoring to staging, save and close. And then you can see how we can essentially create kind of a simple version of a map, right? And then let's say our staging is going to be, once we get it going here, grab it and drag it over here, right? We'll say it's right there or whatever. You guys see kind of how that works. Certainly, lean on your GIS folks if you want, but you can see how you can make a fairly simple map that looks decently professional in pretty short order. Some of these other documents, right, they generate up, again, utilizing our plug and play stuff from the data entry tab. So we have a press release in here, gives an idea of who's going to play, the scenario, some introduction stuff, and some contact info. That would be kind of externally facing. You have an invite letter here that, again, would be more internally facing as you look for inviting folks. Again, this populates from our data entry tab. And so as you look at that, right, we can type those things in, do a mail merge, whatever. All this stuff sort of flows in. Exercise flyer, kind of the same idea. This may be one that we save as a PDF, print, put it on bulletin boards, drop it into a social media group, something like that, as a way to drum up interest and excitement. We've got a similar kind of thing here, an exercise area sign. Depending on the nature of your exercise, you might consider printing some of these and putting them up. You could put some extra text in there, giving more details or context, but you can post these on the front doors of a building or across caution tape or whatnot to direct somebody back to whoever you'd want them directed to. We've got an actor waiver form. And like any waiver form, you'd want to have this reviewed by your city, county, agency, attorney, but it gives you kind of a sense of something, right, that again, if we bring folks in, pulls the details in up top, they can write in their name right there, sign, and again, all the pertinents get customized when you bring them in. Photo consent form in similar fashion, right? This is something that if you're in the exercise area, you may be capturing images, and you can see here, right, giving permission for you to do so, and then later post those where you need them posted. Any of these documents, right, are really designed to help you with day of stuff, help you not forget things. Certainly, none of them are applicable to every scenario. If you're talking an active shooter type exercise, something like this with a weapon safety policy is going to be an important thing. It may not be applicable, and if not, don't use it. As we look through here, this was a neat tool that we picked up from the NCBRT down at Louisiana State University. Designed to be printed and sort of folded in half, put in a cargo pocket, but it helps you kind of walk through, comes from their Surviving an Active Threat Run, Hide, Fight course. It gives you a one-stop shop for safety briefs, mini scenarios, things like that, sort of a standalone document that may go along with some active shooter stuff. This one you could customize a little bit more here on itself. It doesn't pull in nearly so much from the data entry tab. We've got a couple sign-in sheets, right? One being completely blank. You can print off however many of these you would need to catch day of folks that hadn't registered and RSVP'd. But to facilitate that sign-in process, make it go a little bit faster, We have a pre-filled one that again comes off of your RSVP list, and you can see here it pulls those folks in. They can add details if they want and just simply initial that they're there. If you populated email and phone, it would show up here. Got our way to print table tents. And so again, this bad boy here, if you're doing something where you're around tables, right, tabletop exercise as it were, these all pre-populate and the colors match up. So if you need to group everybody up by their role, you can simply tell them, hey, all the folks that have yellow on the left, please go to the back corner of the room or whatnot. Or you can cluster them by discipline, right, and again, color-coded. The alpha beta stuff here would populate off of the RSVP on the data entry. These would be the first and last names, and then followed by their title and their agency. We've got some wall signs here. So again, could be that depending on your scenario, you'd want to print these. They print out larger, kind of 8.5 by 11, where the table tents are printed 2 to 8.5 by 11, and then folded in half. These would be a little larger, kind of think command post style exercise where you can print them and tape them on the wall to help folks navigate around the building a little bit better. As we scoot forward just a little bit more, we've got a few other items here. ID badges, the color coding matches what we had on the table tents. And so as you look at the ID badges, again, these are designed to print on 8.5 by 11. And then when they're there, you can fold them in half, run them through a laminator, right, cut them down to size, and then put them on a lanyard or put them in a little sleeve. And it quickly identifies that this person's part of the exercise. If they had evaluator or observer or whatever else, these colors obviously change, as does the title. Again, names, agencies, disciplines by color coding on those. We have inject cards that again may or may not be useful to your particular exercise. If you have sort of the traditional open the envelope and pull out the thing, these all flow off of the data entry tab where you put in kind of the measles section, the master scenario events list, and these can be printed, cut, stuck in an envelope, and then handed at particular times. We talked about earlier, right, an actor symptomology tag, and so if you're working on a medical kind of an exercise, these are for your patients, your intended victims, right? And they match up with the data you put in, the triage tag kind of indicators, and then it's got a little bit of further information down here on kind of an AAR hot wash, right, for the person themselves. And so as you look at this, right, how long did it take for medical personnel to reach you? As a reminder, right, don't let the players take these cards. You brief that to the participants, and then they would sort of read through this, act accordingly to their signs and symptoms, and then hopefully move through the triage, treatment, and transport sections. Our 207 org chart from ICS, right, if it's useful, again, that we need to do something like this, you can populate the org chart. This might be something that you would print and put up or provide to the participants for them to write in who's who and who's on first, if that again is applicable to your particular exercise. We have a participant feedback form, which again helps kind of build towards our AAR and our improvement plan. And what we're looking at there, you can again make some customization to it. But as you see here, once it loads up, it asks a series of questions, right? Again, very based off of the HSEEP stuff, where they can farm all that in, add their notes, and get them back to you. We put a 214 unit log. Again, this may be a note taker for folks, depending on the exercise scenario or type, with little memory joggers of what to put in there. We also added a kind of made up AAR note taker. If you're not looking to do something more robust, think simple exercise like a fire drill. Some just quick memory joggers to catch what went well, what should we start doing, what should we stop doing, what should we continue doing. Catch those up, and then you can again farm that into your documents. This would be for the players, likely during kind of a tabletop exercise. As stuff comes up that they may need just a reminder, they can jot down questions, and if they get an answer, great. And if not, they can go back and research it and fill it in. Little checkbox, right? If you had told them, as a participant, that you'll bring back an answer to the group later. Just a little note, something so you don't lose that when you're out and about. The thank you letters, right? Again, generated off of the data entry tab back there. And so as you populate that, this kind of acts like a mail merge system with the if-then logic, pulls in the data that you put together. You hit print. These come out on 8.5 by 11. You can either, again, remove the director thing and pen and ink sign, or it'll, again, give you a bit of a signature. Fold them. And then last but not least, we have a thank you mailing label piece here. And so you can, once it loads, right, pull these in, print them onto the little Avery or similar kind of labels, and then slap them on an envelope and very quickly have thank you letters back out. Designed around 30 or so entries, you can see here. If you have more, you'd print one batch, print them, do your thing, and then just run another batch, right? So say you were going to do your RSVP list, you would copy and paste that from our data entry into the thank you letter section, print this batch, and then let's say you were going to do your actors, right? Copy and paste the actors into the data entry section for thank yous, reprint the batch. So that kind of wraps us up here with our extra tools. Hopefully you found some use in these. You're getting some ideas. Creativity juices are flowing a little bit, and you have some ways you can move your exercise a little bit more professional, a little bit more forward, both as a jurisdiction and hopefully as a profession. We appreciate you joining us, and we look forward to our last episode coming up where we kind of talk about next steps and any support, feedback, commentary like that. So again, thanks for coming out today. Thanks for joining us, and hope you find some of this stuff value added for your